Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had come and attacked Jerusalem, just as the prophets had warned that he would. In his initial invasion, he took many strong, bright, gifted young men with him back to Babylon. Among these young men who were taken to live in captivity were 4 who had distinguished themselves as men of principle and character. Their names were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. In the 2nd year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, these 4 young men had been placed among the ranks of Babylon's experts. They were people that Nebuchadnezzar heavily relied upon for insight, information, and advice. One night, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed a dream that troubled him so greatly that it woke him from his sleep. As he sat up in his bed, Nebuchadnezzar was gripped with the notion that his dream bore some significance. He laid in the dark stillness and pondered what his dream might mean, but he could find no answers. And to make matters worse, the dream itself soon escaped him. He couldn't remember it at all. Finally, very early in the morning, he called for an emergency meeting of his experts. He was sure that if anyone could access the spirit world for him, they could. They sat silently as the king spoke. "This night I have dreamed a dream that I believe bears great meaning. This dream ripped me from my sleep, and though I have wrestled to understand its message, I have found no answers. I'm relying on you to show me the meaning of my dream." A sigh of relief passed through the crowd, as together these expert sorcerers realized that even if they couldn't obtain an interpretation from their dark spiritual sources, they could at least easily invent some nonsense to present to Nebuchadnezzar, as they had done many times before. A spokesman stood and confidently declared, "O king, live forever. If you will tell us what you dreamed, we will happily provide you with its meaning." Nebuchadnezzar laughed. "Well, that's the thing. I can't remember the dream. But you're my spiritual experts, and now you have the chance to prove it. If you can't tell me my dream and the interpretation, you're just a bunch of fakes, and you've been lying to me all along. I'll cut you all in pieces and make your houses a dunghill." That's quite an over-the-top penalty, because after you've cut me in pieces, I don't really care what you do to my house. But Nebuchadnezzar continued, "If you can tell me my dream and its meaning, you will receive gifts, rewards, and honor." The spiritual experts objected to the king's demand so profusely that they finally drove Nebuchadnezzar to angrily declare that all the wise men of Babylon would be destroyed. And that included Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. When they notified Daniel that he was to be executed, Daniel went straight to the palace to request a delay. "If the king will give me 1 day, I will tell him his dream and the interpretation." After the king granted his request, Daniel went straight to his 3 friends and urged them, "We've got to get hold of God." They pleaded with the Lord for the rest of that day and into the night. Then, late that night, the Lord gave Daniel a vision. He saw the king's dream, and he understood its meaning. So the rest of that night, Daniel and his friends praised God for his answer. The next morning, Daniel went to the executioner and said, "Don't kill anybody. Bring me to the king. I have his answer." When Daniel was presented to Nebuchadnezzar, the king demanded, "Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof?" Daniel boldly declared, "The secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets." Daniel proceeded to describe to Nebuchadnezzar what he had seen in his dream: a terrible image with a head of gold, chest and arms of silver, stomach and thighs of brass, legs of iron, and feet of iron and clay. Then a stone cut out without hands smashed the feet of iron and clay. The whole image was destroyed and became as chaff, and the wind blew it away. But the stone became as a mountain and filled the whole earth. Daniel proceeded to explain how this dream was foretelling the future of human government, and how that in the end, God will destroy these human governments and set up a kingdom that will last forever. King Nebuchadnezzar was so overwhelmed with Daniel's description that he fell on his face at Daniel's feet and proclaimed, "Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets." The king gave Daniel many gifts, and he made Daniel a very important man in Babylon. God still had more work to do in Nebuchadnezzar's heart, and he would use Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah to do it. Christian, God can do amazing things through praying people. Stay the course.